What's up, everybody? This is a long-awaited update on the 3000 GT. I'm out here doing some driving, trying to get my low and mid fuel trims, getting them as close to zero as I can. So I've been out doing some driving, but I wanted to show you the car. So we'll call this the 95% completion phase here. And I say that because there's some runs in the paint. I still need to sand out and buff. I need to put the front lower skid plate. It's not even a skid plate, but the front air dam scoop underneath it, and just a couple small things I got to do. I stopped here to show the whole car off. Plus, I had to unhook my battery to reset my fuel trims to zero, so that I can get out here and do the 16-minute drives to see what kind of fuel my car's adding or not adding. So need to get that done before I can actually get in and really start doing the hardcore tuning and the messing with the timing and all of that. So I give big shout out to my neighbor. His name's Brent. He was the one that actually got me this far on the tuning portion of this. He was able to get the Chrome V2 connected to the Evo scan, get my first definition file put in the car. Since this is no longer a stock dual overhead cam SL, I was able to put a VR4 definition file in it, which is definitely a huge leap compared to if I had to keep this as an SL definition and then tune it up. So I purchased the 800cc VR4 ROM, and that's what's currently in here. I've got my injector scaled. I got custom 796cc Deca injectors. Got everything scaled and set up. Right now what I'm doing is driving around and adjusting my latency on the open or the closing of them to get my fuel trims as close to zero as possible. Quick overview of the engine bay. Showed this in previous videos, but Eaton M90 Supercharger, custom, I guess I'd call it a custom cold air intake because I bought all the pieces individual to make this. Cut out a big opening down here in the fender to get good airflow into this engine. I'm running a boost bypass valve here right before it goes into my intake runners, which is helping with idle. This car is finicky at idle so far. That's what I'm trying to correct some. It idles great, but if you give it throttle and you let off too fast, it'll try to die on you. So I've been adjusting on the throttle body a little bit, and then I actually had to crank the idle up. So right now it's idling around 1100 RPM, but I got to keep it there or the car will, like I said, try to die on me when I'm shifting in between gears, especially if I'm coming to a stop. Here's a good look at the supercharger and the supercharger pulley in there. Running basically a 2-to-1 ratio. So at red line, I'm spinning that supercharger at 14,000 RPM. What little I've been playing with the car, I've been seeing just a little over 3 pounds boost, which is, I was hoping for 5, because this is a high compression engine, but, I can live with 3. As I might have mentioned in one of my earlier videos, when I did this, I had all the parts to twin turbo this car, but I just had the desire to stick a supercharger on it. From a drivability standpoint, I think superchargers are a lot easier and, I guess, funner to drive. Well, I guess that depends on the driver, but as far as throttle response goes, in this car, as soon as I get 1/8, maybe a quarter throttle, it's already, the boost gauge already jumps up to 0, and then it'll start building boost from there. So it's very responsive. The biggest downside to superchargers is, as you all may know, is they take a lot of horsepower to run them. So this one here, I'm probably going to lose 40 horsepower just spinning the supercharger. So A little bit later on, I'll get a video of me taking it to the dyno. I dynoed this car before I put the supercharger on it, and I was going to dyno it after to see what kind of gain I got. I'm thinking just by driving it, you know, as I probably, just if I was going to guess, maybe 75, 80 horsepower gain. It's probably more than that once I get my tune lined out, but you know, my tune is running kind of lean. You know, like a wide open throttle, I'm, you know, 15% air fuel ratio when I need to be a lot lower than that. So as I get to start adding fuel in this and playing with the timing, I should be able to build a lot more horsepower. Let's go. Oh, one of the other added benefits of the way I designed this is that I didn't have to cut my hood. So as you guys can see, as you can see now, I mean, it's other than the big intercooler on the front and the awesome House of Color organic green, she looks pretty much like a stock 99 SL. One thing that I do need some advice on, there's a couple things, but the main one is, should I put decals or emblems back on this car? Comment below and let me know, because right now there is none on the car. Not even the 3000 GT that sat back here on the corner. I am going to put the emblem back on the nose, which I have that, but I got to run in the paint that I got to fix before I stick that on there. So it will have the factory emblem right there, but I just don't know if I want to put any 3000 GT or anything on this thing. But yeah, leave me a comment below on you think what kind of badging I should put on this. The other thing that I need some help with is, let me get down inside the car here, is I cannot, this is probably going to look bad because the sun's glaring in here, but I cannot get my gauges to work. So I took these gauges out and put LED lights in them, and then I put them back in the car, and my RPM and my speedometer quit working. So then, man, that sun's really glaring, man. Let me see if I can back this thing up and turn it around so we at least don't have that sun glaring in our face. There, much better. So, get that to focus back in. So after I put the gauges in there, or the gauge back in, and it quit working, I pulled it back out, took all the LED lights out of it, put the incandescent bulbs back in it, replaced a couple of them that were burned out, and everything checks out, man. I mean, as far as the lights go, I can turn the lights on, the gauges illuminate, but the speedometer and the RPM gauge don't work. But I know that they're getting signal to the ECU, because when I got EvoScan on here, I can read my RPMs, I can read my miles per hour. So I'm kind of at a loss at what's going on here. I've checked every fuse, every relay, traced down just about every wire in this car. And I think what I really need is if there is a resistance wire diagram for these gauges where I can check all the pins on the back and see if something is not right. But I did take it apart and put a VR4 speedometer in there, but even before I put that in there, I lost my RPM gauge. So I put the stock speedometer back in there and still nothing. One cool thing I did, at least in my mind, is I took a hole saw and I kind of made my own. You can probably see there, I just took a hole saw and gently sawed down in there, and I put my boost gauge there and my wideband there instead of purchasing the one that was already made that way. But I think they look pretty good in there. I kind of like them on the green. Maybe if I get out here at nighttime, I'll maybe change the color and see if they look better a different way. But for now, I'm going to take this up the road, run it for about 16 minutes. I got my Evo scan in here. I'm going to do some data logging. I've already unhooked the battery, as I mentioned. So I'll bring you back and we'll see what we got. So I drove it for about 18 minutes actually. And I don't know if you can see this or not, but I was hovering around 4% on my my fuel trim. So I pulled off the side of the road and I did increase my latency by 2%, and then I'm gonna turn around and drive back home. So we'll see what's going on. But after 18 minutes of driving, my idle actually got really good. Like when I was stopping, letting off the throttle, it wasn't dying. So it's nice. It's starting to learn itself, but hopefully this will do the trick on getting me to square one, and then we'll start trying to make some power out of this thing. So guys, I wanted to bring you back. I know I'm not completely tuned, but I wanted you guys to get a little bit of supercharger whine on this thing before I called the video an end. So hopefully you can see my boost gauge here, how quickly this thing will build boost. Hope you like a little wine with your cheese, because that supercharger sounds awesome inside of here. Hope everybody has a great day. See you on the next video.